Welcome to the Morning Download Podcast, your go-to resource for personal finance, economics, and market insights. In just 8 minutes a day, we provide valuable information to help you make better money decisions. Don't forget to sign up for our free newsletter at https://www.morningdownload.com. Subscribe. Let's dive right in. In today's episode, we'll cover Bitcoin's trillion-dollar market cap, the ancient Roman origins of salary tied to salt, the impact of AI on jobs, including significant job cuts at companies like Cisco and British Telecom, NVIDIA surpassing Alphabet in worth, the FTC warning against using Americans' data for AI training, Japan's recession, Lyft's stock fluctuations and airline worries, and tax-free incomes in the U.S. Plus, we'll end with a quote by Benjamin Franklin on growth and progress.
Here's a fascinating fun fact that might pique your interest. Did you know that the word salary has its roots in ancient Rome? It's true. Back in those days, Roman soldiers were paid in coins. But here's the twist. Some sources suggest that they were also compensated with salt. In fact, there's even a theory that the word salary is derived from salt, owing to the salt allowances given to these soldiers. Pretty salty, right? Why so salty? So, let's talk about the economy and some recent news. It seems like AI is really starting to have an impact on jobs. Cisco, for example, is cutting 5% of its workforce, which amounts to over 4,000 jobs. And they're not the only ones. Companies like Canva and Duolingo are also replacing workers with robots, or AI. In fact, British Telecom plans to replace a whopping 55,000 jobs with AI by 2030. It's not surprising that workers are feeling a bit nervous. About 30% of workers worldwide fear that AI might replace their jobs within the next 3 years, and in some countries like India, that number jumps to a staggering 74%. The numbers are quite alarming. It's estimated that by 2030, AI could potentially replace around 800 million jobs globally, with an economic impact of $7 trillion. That's a huge shift in how businesses hire and train. In fact, over 120 million workers will need retraining, and about 45 million Americans may lose their jobs due to AI. Currently, about 14% of workers have already experienced job displacement because of AI. This just highlights the need for workers to adapt and gain more skills. It's all about finding ways to stay relevant in an ever-changing job market. Moving on to some other news, we've got NVIDIA making waves. They're now worth more than Alphabet, Google's parent company, just one day after surpassing Amazon. That's pretty impressive. And here's a warning from the FTC to businesses. Don't use Americans' data without their knowledge to train AI. It's important to respect people's privacy and not cross any ethical boundaries. Lastly, Japan is facing a tough situation. They're now in a recession. It's a challenging time for their economy, and they'll need to find ways to navigate through it. So, let's talk stocks. You know, sometimes even a simple typo can make a big difference. Take the case of Lyft. They had a little mishap in their fourth quarter earnings report, which actually worked in their favor. They estimated that their gross margin would expand by 500 basis points, which is quite impressive. But here's the catch. They accidentally added an extra zero in their numbers. The actual estimate is much lower, at 50 basis points. Oops. But hey, Lyft's CEO, David Risher, owned up to the mistake. After the correction, the stock still managed to beat estimates, but it lost a big chunk of its initial surge, shedding over $2 billion in market cap. Despite that hiccup, Lyft shares soared by a whopping 35% on Wednesday, hitting 16.09, marking their best day since the company's IPO back in 2019. However, it's worth noting that even with this surge, the stock is still about 77% below its debut price, so they've got some ground to make up there. Switching gears a bit, it seems like airlines are facing some troubles of their own. Sure, airfares may be getting cheaper, which is great for us travelers, but it turns out flight attendants are now pushing airlines to increase wages. And guess what? They're doing it right after pilots got a hefty 21% raise. Talk about timing, right? To add to the mix, Delta Airlines recently announced that they'll be paying out a whopping $1. $4 billion in profit sharing. That's more than double what they paid their employees just a year ago. So it seems like the labor front in the airline industry is heating up. We all want to keep more of our hard-earned cash, right? Let's start with incomes that are tax-free in the US. Yes, they exist. But before we dive in, just know that you can find similar exemptions in other countries too. For example, if you're a widow in India, 1/3 of your family pension, up to Rs 15,000, is exempt from taxes. That's pretty great, right? Now, let's focus on the US. Did you know that if you sell investments at a loss, you can offset up to $3,000 of your income? It's true. This can help lower your taxable income, which means more money for you. Just keep in mind that this amount is capped at $3,000 per year. But hey, you can carry over any excess losses from year to year until you offset the entire loss. Pretty cool, huh? Next up, we have the sale of a principal residence. This one can be a big money saver. If you meet the IRS's ownership and use tests, you can exclude up to $250,000 for individuals or $500,000 for married couples filing jointly from your income when you sell your home. That's a huge chunk of change you get to keep. Now let's talk about certain states that are more tax-friendly. There are 8 states that don't have an individual income tax: Florida, Alaska, Nevada, Tennessee, South Dakota, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming. And let's not forget about New Hampshire, which doesn't tax earned income from wages and salary. However, they do tax interest and dividend income. Oh, and remember, most states won't tax your Social Security income, but federal laws might still require you to pay taxes on it. Today, we have an insightful quote from none other than Benjamin Franklin. He once said, "Without continual growth and progress, such words as improvement, achievement, and success have no meaning." And you know what? Franklin hit the nail on the head with this one. Growth and progress play a crucial role in giving meaning to our endeavors. Imagine a world where there's no room for improvement or achievement. It would be like living in a stagnant pond, wouldn't it? Whether it's personal development, professional goals, or our aspirations as a society, growth is what propels us forward. It pushes us to go beyond our limits, to strive for better versions of ourselves. Without it, we would be stuck in the same place, never realizing our full potential. But it's not just about growth for the sake of growth. It's about embracing the process and constantly seeking progress. It's about challenging ourselves, stepping outside of our comfort zones, and continuing to learn and evolve. So the next time you feel like settling for mediocrity, remember Franklin's wise words. Let's strive for continual growth and progress so that improvement, achievement, and success can truly have meaning in our lives.
In this episode, we covered a wide range of topics, including Bitcoin's trillion-dollar market cap, the impact of AI on job market, Lyft's financial roller coaster, tax-free income options, and a thought-provoking quote from Benjamin Franklin. Thanks for tuning in to the Morning Download, your go-to podcast for personal finance, economics, and market insights in just 8 minutes a day. Don't forget to subscribe for more helpful content and sign up for our free newsletter at morningdownload.com/subscribe.